we can definitely feel this is only the beginning of a very big journey. And this would be interesting for you to kind of reflect on this and try to position within this timeline where is Facebook, where is MongoDB, where is Uniswap, where is FTX, and also maybe having a long line for where is dYdX, because I'm very optimistic on everything we're building together. On the next slide, please. I'd like to share with you a little bit a view many of us share is that as a society we are essentially moving away from a bureaucratic age where centralized entities and institutions are kind of driving many of our activities and societies, and we are moving into an algorithm age. And how do we get tools around us to essentially strive within this kind of new era of digital societies? And I strongly believe that decentralized infrastructures, blockchain obviously, but also decentralized governance via the DAOs, are very essential tools for us to strive in this new era. Next slide, please. Moving to this new era of digital societies comes with responsibilities. There is many of them. I will try just to highlight just a few here. Next slide, please. Our first responsibility, in my opinion, is to stay engaged with regulators. Regulators are looking at our space in many different ways. Some of them will be looking at the type of activities we do, but many of them are also looking at what kind of infrastructure we are building. One example, which was recently highlighted by the BIS, the Bank of International Settlement, was an experiment made by 3 different central banks, essentially leveraging DeFi to do some swaps via AMMs for CBDCs networks. So everything we're building is good for our ecosystem, but it's also a responsibility of us to stay engaged with regulators and make them understand what we are building and why we are building it. In my opinion, there is massive overlaps between the mission of regulators and the capabilities of DeFi. Regulators want to have a healthy and transparent market. Regulators want to have protections of users in general and users' assets. And all of these features are kind of native in everything we're building. So it's important not only to claim DeFi is good, I think we will need to switch the way we interact with regulators by essentially demonstrating how DeFi supports many of the missions we share with all our societies in general and with regulators as well. On the next slide, I think it's important to keep explaining to everyone we interact with, should it be within our ecosystem, but more importantly outside of our ecosystem, and keep explaining the difference between money crypto and tech crypto. Obviously in this room you are very clear, you know there is some speculators in our space which will sometimes misbehave, and we've seen many examples of that, but there is also, like many of you here today, a lot of people building very meaningful technology which is bringing very high impact. So we should keep educating and kind of sharing the wisdom of the difference between money crypto and tech crypto. One responsibility also, in my opinion, we all share, it's about revamping the framing and the wording we use in our industry. I'm sure there is plenty of engineers and product managers and product leads here, and I just want to take a moment to kind of think of the wording we use whenever we build and we build products and technology. We often advertise non-custodial wallets. So try to explain to your uncle or maybe your grandma what is a non-custodial wallet. Is it a wallet which cannot keep things because it's like a transparent wallet in a way and the money leaks? So the choice of wording here can be sometimes a little bit of a barrier for new entrants. Same for permissionless. If you tell to the people this is permissionless, for us it means something like there is money for permissions, it opens the doors to a lot of innovation and new features. But for many people and many new entrants, permissionless means also the kind of Far West where there is no rules. So is it the right word we use? I don't think so. Same for immutable, government-free, trustless. Trustless is probably the one which is hardest to capture for new entrants in our space. Trustless can be understood as you cannot trust, which is something we understand in a way because we are in this industry for a long time. But for newcomers, trustless means, should I trust this? So we have a responsibility, in my opinion, to keep thinking on how we design product and how we choose and pick words to advertise it. On the next slide, I think that's something which is also very important. We've seen that in CeFi multiple times and sometimes in DeFi as well. Making sure that we keep building, and this is something we are very obsessed about at dYdX is building products with really the sole focus of supporting and helping the user intentions to essentially exist and happen. So that's in the design of the product, making sure that every time we design something, it's kind of reverse engineered from the user intention rather than being a product feature which we need to be educated and possibly misuse later. Improving user experience, that's something we hear and we hear again for years and years. The same kind of journey happened to the normal internet, Web 1 and Web 2. That's something we should also stay very resilient about and improving the user experience in general. dYdX has announced a partnership a few days ago with Axelar, for example, making sure that users can essentially migrate assets with the new dYdX chain in one click only. So making sure you deploy engineering resources and mindshare on simplifying the UX to essentially get the best journey and experience for users. The same applies to custody. Yes, there is ledgers, yes, there are smart contracts and different multi-sig wallets, but we also need to think how we improve this experience by an order of magnitude to welcome new herds of users which will be coming into our space. We have also a responsibility, and that's something which is very much a focus at the dYdX Foundation and within the dYdX ecosystem overall, about delivering functional DAOs. Our technology is experimental, and within our technology of blockchain, many of us are building DAOs to coordinate some works and projects with the community, and there is still a long journey to do. So I think it's important to deploy resources again, and making sure that these DAOs evolve as fast as the technology. Unfortunately, humans are not as agile as line of code, but that's something we should be focused on. Making sure that the DAOs are functional, the DAOs are pragmatic, and they essentially serve in a very agile way the protocols in general, and keep the velocity of the product features, for example, whenever they get to be launched. A few words about the history of dYdX for some of you which are not familiar with the protocol itself. dYdX first existed on Ethereum back in 2017. The dYdX engineering team has been very focused and very obsessed by exploring new technology stacks and new possible solutions for improving the product experience in general. dYdX was one of the first users and first application to migrate to layer 2, and today the version of dYdX we can experience on Ethereum is actually sitting on StarkX and StarkWeb. From this first experiment, it has allowed the protocol in general to grow extremely rapidly, and we celebrated, and congratulations to all of you involved in the project overall, $1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion of volume accumulated since inception. So that's a very, very big milestone. That's awesome, yes. So it's really a testament for many of the works of engineers, from people involved, from the market, the feedback loop, which has been able to be really kind of productive and positive in improving the protocol overall. And what's next? I think you've heard about that, and we are extremely excited. We are moving, following some governance vote by the community, to the new dYdX chain. So it's going to come in a few weeks' time. The dYdX chain is built on Cosmosphere SDK. It's a customized chain for the specific use case of dYdX. If some of you have participated or experienced the testnet, you can see that this is just a totally revamped experience and a very solid kind of foundation from a tech perspective for the future of dYdX. We celebrated 1 trillion. We can clap hands again, why not? Thank you. So why the dYdX chain is being built? Why the community and engineers involved are deciding to essentially build this new stack from the ground up and spend so many months on this? The first reason is really keep progressing into the roadmap of decentralization of dYdX. dYdX exists since 2017, has been obsessed with a roadmap of decentralization, but there is, depending on which stack and whenever you started, there is only so much you can achieve in terms of decentralization. But I would say the mission remain the same, and whenever there is opportunities to decentralize further, these opportunities are explored and eventually executed on. So one of the reasons dYdX chain will come to birth is to essentially keep progressing in decentralization, decentralizing the matching engine, decentralizing the order book, and decentralizing the sequencer when the time comes. So it's really a long time and long-term type of timeline in looking at how do we decentralize. Same for the DAOs. The DAOs exist today on the Ethereum version of dYdX, but they will be, I would say, enabled and kind of empowered further with the birth of the dYdX chain. So making sure that there is no central parties. And one thing you might have read already is that all the fees collected by the protocol will be distributed to validators and to stakers. That's also a great progress in terms of enabling the community and the treasuries to further empower by innovation and new features the ecosystem overall. The new chain also will provide higher order capacity, in a sense more throughput, to feed the growth of the protocol. When you reach $1 trillion of volume, it means you've got essentially a lot of users, and these users need to be accommodated from a technology perspective. The finality of the trades also will come much faster, as well as kind of building the base for new product features. So we will see what the community decides to, but there is a lot of additional synthetic products or additional features in margins which can be deployed as well with the new dYdX chain. So stay tuned. Beyond the launch, there is a lot of work which already started, and that's also very exciting. A few statistics about the version 3 of dYdX, which sits on Ethereum, as I mentioned earlier. So daily average volume so far in 2023, about $940 million daily. So that's clearly a strong signal of product market fit. The total volume so far of 258 million. Some fees are being collected by the platform, and 60K plus traders on dYdX. So this makes us very excited to be able to provide to the protocol itself some kind of upgrade on this totally new stack that will be the dYdX chain. We'd like to thank also all the people which have been involved in this journey of the dYdX chain. dYdX went through a number of testnets, some of them internal, some of them external. We are the third iteration of the public testnet. We put a few logos here, but there is 50 plus different validators which have been testing, pushing the boundaries, creating all kinds of scenarios to make sure that the dYdX chain is ready when the time comes. So far, the engineers report about 1.6 second block time. 58 validators have been involved in the testnet, and a number of token and transactions which also demonstrate that there is definitely the performance are there, and this is very, very encouraging. For the technical or maybe the DeFi guy in the room, I will go quickly through the kind of journey an order goes through the protocol. So before going through this process of an order, I just want to highlight three main components of the dYdX chain, from the blockchain itself up to the application. So there is obviously the protocol, which is built on the top of Comet BFT, as well as the Cosmos SDK. And there is two types of nodes, validators as well as full nodes. So validators have two missions on the dYdX chain. Number one mission is to verify and mint new blocks, so essentially maintaining the chain itself. But they also host in the memory of the validators, which is not the archive, but really the memory itself, which is much more veloce in terms of response time. They host a copy of the order book, and they keep whispering to each other the latest version of the order book. So that's the kind of engineering decision which was made to decentralize the order book. So the order book is not sitting into a centralized server anymore, without having the order book sitting on chain. If your order book was to be seated on chain, it would have like 1.6 seconds kind of block time, and this would be a latency which is really suboptimal for an order book type of protocol. So that's really the design which has been made and tested in testnet and soon within the dYdX chain when it will be launched. There is obviously indexers which are collecting information and more kind of Web 2 services for the protocol and stakeholders overall, as well as front ends. So front ends for the web, front ends for mobile, and there is also a very important component for high frequency traders which are using dYdX, is a set of APIs which allows them to do systematic trading at high frequency as a protocol will require. Moving on to the order, when an order is placed on the dYdX protocol and dYdX exchange, it can be done via the front end or via an API. So that's number one. Then this order will be routed to a validator. The validator will go see the transactions, and eventually the order of the buyer and the seller will meet. So there will be a hit. When this hit between the buyer and the seller happen, it moves to the consensus type of process, where the validator will submit to the blockchain itself and to the validators a pre-confirmation of the order. And the validators essentially will be in charge of checking within all the network of validators if there is a delay in the order. So maybe if I hit the order at 1.1 second and you hit the order at 1 second, the validators at the consensus level will essentially do some kind of triage and cancel my orders or not validate my orders and validate a new order which was hit before mine. After the block is committed, then the chain is totally updated and the data is streamed to the full nodes as well as the indexers for updating essentially everyone part of the chain. One of the new exciting features of the dYdX chain is the upcoming permissionless market. So it's not going to happen immediately. The chain has to stabilize and be more efficient and really stable to welcome some kind of application level upgrade. But one of the potentials of the permissionless market would be to create a much larger number of trading pairs, which is a very big demand from the market overall, but also giving away the kind of the formula for people to express their innovations, to express their market needs, and being able to launch on dYdX within a framework of risk management, within a framework of liquidity requirements, which will be defined by the community, some new markets. So there will be more crypto trading pairs. That's exciting. What is more exciting to me is really to get, I would say, the brand open for much more contributors with a very good and strong financial background to really innovate with the launch of new products and leveraging essentially the infrastructure of the dYdX ecosystem, but also the permissionless feature. So as a nutshell, dYdX is becoming a protocol. It's an application becoming a protocol, and that's a trend we see. And we will see more and more, I believe. So possibly people will get inspired and inspire themselves on dYdX, and we look forward to share with you our journey so everyone can learn from this journey of being an application, a leading application in our space, and becoming a protocol as a dYdX chain. dYdX ecosystem is also rich of DAOs. So there is 2 active DAOs today within dYdX ecosystem. The Grants DAO, which evolved into the 1.5 type of generation, as well as the Operation Sub-DAO. Some of the members of the Operation Sub-DAO are here also, so you might meet them later this week. And they are running some important infrastructure for the ecosystem of validators overall. And the history, the community inputs and votes will also probably enable additional DAOs when the time comes. There is discussions about potential risk analytics DAOs, R&D, treasury management, and growth. So we will find out soon enough. If you want to know more about dYdX, you want to scan this QR code. This is a semi-annual report published by the dYdX Foundation. Give you a very good snapshot of numbers, who is involved in the dYdX chain build, and that's a very good way for you to kind of catch up on everything. I'll conclude very soon. So, as a takeaway, the software of dYdX is totally open source, or will be in the coming weeks, from the source, from the code itself to the user interface. There is an easy onboarding which has been already tested during the testnet, so that's exciting. There will be independent indexing services providers involved as well, and there is a novel MEV solution which you want to keep an eye on. It will evolve with a chain being in production. That's something we all pay attention to. Some takeaways: the application becoming a protocol. We are migrating to our own chain, built out of the Cosmos SDK. The community is leading all these efforts, so you can be part of this community. I'll touch on this in 1 second. And the DAO ecosystem around dYdX is progressing very strongly and definitely leads the charge in our space. Istanbul, my blockchain equal love. Sorry, the emoji is missing here. as a PDF story. So join the dYdX ecosystem. It's obviously a permissionless ecosystem. You can join as a contributor in the DAOs, you can join as additional validators, you can join as service providers of infrastructure, but also doing some research around the many topics the ecosystem is touching overall. So you're very much welcome thinking of additional tooling on Cosmos, some various strategies the community could be exploring, building bridges, contributing to governance, predicting wallets. There is multiple topics and multiple ways we can collaborate. So please be in touch. There is many of us wearing this black dYdX t-shirt, so feel free to reach out to us. My last slide, I know I'm a little bit late, sorry about that. It's essentially a call for action. So if you want to start your journey within dYdX, on the next slide, you can follow us on the dYdX Foundation. This is really where we kind of aggregate all the activity, the news, the progress, the updates from the ecosystem, and also join the dYdX forum, open an account so you're going to receive regular updates, and it's the best way for you to join us in this exciting journey. Thank you everyone. I look forward to spending the week with you guys.